Sky Architecture is a Bangalore-based design studio. They are known for their research-driven approach and commitment to sustainable, site-specific designs that seamlessly integrating with the natural environment. Today, we are delighted to welcome architect Senthil Kumar. He is here to discuss about his shortlisted project for World Architecture Festival 2024. So welcome Senthil. Please share something about this residential project.
See, I think it is a great platform where people from all parts of the world congregate and we share ideas seamlessly. And I'm extremely been happy with the way we have been getting very positive feedback from the jury members as well as from the entire community. I think that's what is making it really special.
So I also, heard about the project what you presented here at this festival. Can you please talk about that also?
Yeah, sure. It was a love affair between me and the stone first, and then it became a very, very soulful experience. In fact, I was in a temple in one of my hometowns in Tamil Nadu, where it was a ephemeral bliss you experience when the stone hits when the evening sunlight hits the stone. It just melts into like gold. The density of the stone just disappeared. And then I come back to Karnataka, where I'm living presently. You see, there's a stone called chabdi, which is very commonly used. It's mostly used as drains. It's used as compound walls. But it's an amazingly beautiful stone. We thought we should give it another level of integrity altogether. So we just thought we should bring this material up to a certain extent that it can be a fascinating structural material. So the idea started there, but the difference between the traditional way of building and the way we attempted here is tradition, it depends on the density, the thickness of the stone walls. Here only we're talking about 100 mm thickness. And then how do you put the stone together makes the difference. So I'd worked for almost 1.5 to 2 years making models and a lot of mock-ups. And then I went to my structural engineer, Mr. B.L. Manjunath in Bangalore, also out of Bangalore. So he said, I might have to rearrange the order. Are you open to an idea like that? I said, that is the reason why I'm sitting and having this conversation. So I think it started as a very, very beautiful conversation. And we collaborated in this process and then came out with a new order, is what we say in architecture terms. So if you look at the plan, it is coming from the tradition. If you look at the material, it is also coming from the tradition. But if you look at the order, it's a new experience altogether. So the way you interlock changes the way you experience the building. I think that's what we tried attempting in this project.
Wonderful. And when you look at the plan, it looks so simple, right? How did you perceive that? You must have definitely visualized the way how the project is going to look like. What was your inspiration other than the temple architecture?
See, it was my own house. So I had a lot of freedom to express, though I had an investor in the project, but they were living elsewhere. And then this is a house which was primarily to be occupied by my wife and me. Unfortunately, she is not here with us today. So it is basically going to be me, and I'll be working as an architect from that. So it becomes a home where it is also a small studio. So the flexibility one could achieve in a plan like that. If you look at traditional Indian architecture, we are always talking about these 9 grids. And then you have a central courtyard. It's a very powerful diagram. So it also gives you a lot of freedom and flexibility to occupy the space at different times of the day. In different moods, you can probably enjoy different settings. I think that's what is the whole idea. And then you just let the house open for people.
And we Indians have a tradition, especially South India have a tradition of stone architecture.
Yes.
Okay, and we have different kinds of stone available.
Yes.
How did you select that appropriate kind of stone and its stones?
I'm born in Tamil Nadu, next to Brihadishwara temple, the big temple, which is a monument for the last 1,100 years in stone. I think I don't need to get inspired even to work with stone. But the beautiful part of working with this stone is this is something which is born in Karnataka. It is a very favorite material of people from Bangalore. So you source this material like 50-60 kilometers from where we are. So it is a locally available material, extremely local. And the whole point of working with the stone is it is not perfect. It's not a block where you cut them into slabs. You quarry them as layers of stone. So that is why it's called as chabdi. When you say chabdi, it means a slab. a stone which is a natural formation which comes out in the form of a slab. So looking at the sustainability component, so if you don't have to go beyond 50 kilometers, I think that's the ideal material to work with.
Source.
And the entire foundation was built with stone, which is locally available, like 1-2 kilometers. So we can order any moment and get this material at our site. So that's how it was.
Did you do some lithography study or lithology study about the stone or something?
No, not really. We are
Not required.
as architects, we are very intuitive. We work with stone masons who understand stone to a certain extent. So we also know if it is stable or not. We have a lot of conversation with people, and then we do a local testing when they turn the stone with their hand
Tools.
tools. They also tell us that this might develop a crack, this might be good, this might not be good. So we were able to kind of do that with the knowledge of what the locals had with the material.
That was one of the concern. And
Yeah.
another aspect is about usage of, joints. Like, I'm sure you must have used less cement in that, or
Absolutely.
maybe no cement in that.
Yes.
What was the substitute material you used for?
See, the whole idea is to lock them tight and then it becomes stable. For the structural integrity, you don't need any binding material. It is stable by itself. But you need to address water. So this is where it comes from. And to make the stone monolithic, we used laticrete. You just have few dots of laticrete and then you put them together. The stone becomes monolithic. And then you use a tile adhesive, grout, which is just to make sure that you don't have any water coming in, water seeping in. That's about it. So you would probably do only 1/10 of what, or even 1/20th of the mortar you would want to use in a regular construction. Yes.
What I saw in modern is also you seamlessly use glass into it. How did you incorporated that concept of?
See, that's the beauty and the poetry what stone can give you. It just lets you imagine wild. So for you to do details, you can carve a groove into the stone. Like the way we use this modern material glass, which goes with the traditional material. Glass was because I had a requirement for keeping the house warm during some months. I suffer from rheumatic arthritis. So I know when it gets extremely cold or extremely hot, you would need a balanced condition. So that is the reason why we were also having glass as one of the layers in the house. Yeah.
And when it comes to finish, okay, working with stone required very specialized artisan skills.
Yes.
Otherwise, that finish what I saw was not possible to accomplish.
Yes.
How did you manage to get that kind of
See, we were lucky enough to find a stone mason whom the structural engineer also advised, but he was not trained in a technique like this. So they are good with stone in general. So then me with my colleague and myself on site, we just lived for 3 years close to the site. So every day we were able to see what was happening. So we were able to give them our feedback in terms of how they should be executing certain things, even physically getting down to the level of marking each and every joints. So my associate stayed 24/7 working on site. I am there every day. So I think when you want to work with something new which you do not know much about, you need to spend time with. It's like knowing a girl. You have to spend a lot of time with her.
Yeah.
So only then the bonding and the love grows. I think that's what we did with stone.
Yeah, you spoke about the monolithic nature. I saw some stone slabs of 13, 14 feet height.
Yes.
How did you manage that in a single piece?
The biggest was 17.
17.
The stone quarry guy told us if you want 20 feet, like 20, 30 feet, if you have the transport capability, we'll give you. The challenge there, it would be the bigger it goes, you will have a lot of variation in the thickness. So that becomes a challenge. So for us, the technical requirement, first we were talking about a 10, 11 feet of usable space. And the foundation, the site had a major slope. So on one side, it was going very deep. So we couldn't take the foundation from a higher level. So you always had to balance it out. So we balanced it out, and minimum, sometimes we needed around 17 feet. So a good 5-6 feet goes into the ground, and then the rest 10-11 feet comes up.
Talking about the structural integrity,
Yes.
when we use stone as a major component, how did you manage the foundation depth? Or
See, basic requirement was only 2.5 feet. In fact, we designed this house for 2 floors, and I did not have a requirement midway as I lost my wife in the.
I'm so sorry to hear about.
Yeah. So then we questioned, and then said probably we should build less in this case. So because the idea kind of pushed me to go ahead and do the project. Otherwise, I could have even stopped the project. But he thought it was a genuine idea, which I think we should take it to the world. So we went through the pain of getting it built. And sorry, I missed the question.
I get that. So I was talking about how did you manage that structural integrity with the foundation strength?
I think we sat with the structural engineer who said he would need technically like a 2.5 feet as his structural depth. So what we did was we created a base using lime and stone. We got some initial stones which were not of good right dimensional capacity because we were trying and testing. So we decided to reuse them in our foundations. So we just created like a well and then had this embankment out of the stone itself. So we made like dovetail joints and then put boulders and lime and then you insert the slab into that. So the moment you do that, it gets supported by itself. It becomes stable by itself. And then we bring the beam and lock it. So a lot of credit goes to the structural engineer. So he was like working with us as intensively as we were working. So it was a great process.
Any content of steel was used?
No steel, absolutely.
Zero steel.
No, zero steel. Only the peripheral walls. After we broke the house, when we wanted to do a gabion wall, we just had some recycled steel coming in there.